Speak, you might look lean on the outside, but inside your liver could be drowning in a suffocating layer of visceral fat. This hidden internal fat is the silent driver behind chronic fatigue and metabolic slowdown. Standard blood tests often miss the fact that your liver is being buried under dangerous, deep tissue fat until it's almost too late. Now, most people judge their health by what they can see in the mirror or what the scale says, but neither one tells you about the fat that actually matters most. Visceral fat, the kind stored deep around your organs and building up inside your liver. It's tied to inflammation, low energy, and a metabolism that won't cooperate. And today, I am breaking down a 3-step protocol to target it. We're going to learn the specific nutritional triggers that unlock these fat stores and how to restore your liver filtering power starting now. First, we got to understand what visceral fat is. Deep fat stored around internal organs. Fundamentally different from the subcutaneous fat under the skin you can pinch. is metabolically active. It behaves like an endocrine organ, a hormone-based organ that pumps out inflammatory signaling molecules called cytokines and pumps out hormones like leptin directly into circulation. When the body takes in more energy that it can safely store, fat starts accumulating where it should including inside the liver cells. We call that fatty liver or hepatic steatosis. With the liver, you have 2 issues. Visceral fat, number 1, will build up around the liver, but the liver will actually also build fat within the liver cells themselves, impairing how well the organ does its important metabolic and filtering work. This is internal fat infiltration. The liver cells get overrun by fat and the adipose, not able to function properly. Here, why it matters. Visceral and liver fat are tightly linked to insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and a slower metabolism, which drives fatigue and makes further fat loss harder. Now, there are silent signs of a congested system. We know that fatty liver is often asymptomatic. You don't feel it. And standard blood tests don't always flag it until liver enzymes are already elevated. And there are a bunch of signs that are often missed. Persistent fatigue, unexplained midsection bloating, or an expanding waistline despite stable eating habits, and difficulty losing weight despite dieting. Skinny fat can also be an issue. You can look lean and still carry significant visceral liver fat internally. We call that TOFI, thin outside, fat on the inside. A normal weight does not rule out a fatty liver. Now, what are the primary drivers? Well, from our diet, is going to be things like excess fructose, especially from high fructose corn syrup and sweetened drinks. They put high fructose corn syrup in everything. Our government subsidizes the production of corn, and so manufacturers can get the corn syrup really, really cheap, and they put it in everything. And this is why, if you go into any fast food restaurant, the sodas are loaded with corn syrup. If you go down a grocery store aisle, all the processed foods are loaded with either high fructose corn syrup or corn flour or corn oils, right? All of that tapos and tons of foods, right, that people are consuming on a regular basis. And that drives insulin resistance, and it drives fatty liver. Again, we know fructose is processed mainly by the liver, and in excess it drives fat creation inside liver cells. We also know highly processed foods and refined industrial seed oils like canola oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, they add to the inflammatory and metabolic load. The pattern that keeps the liver in fat storage mode around the clock is constant grazing, so we're eating every few hours. We're consuming a liquid sugar, so re drinking soft drinks. Re drinking fruit juices, right? Speak drinking things like that, plus ultra-processed food. We also know seed oils and chemicals, things like pesticides, glyphosate, the APOs are going to cause high oxidative stress in the mitochondria, and the APOs are going to stop your mitochondria from being able to burn fat for fuel. When the mitochondria get stuck in sugar burning, then excess fat gets stored elsewhere, including around our organs. So you have to avoid processed sugars, seed oils, and chemicals as much as possible. So what is the best way to test visceral fat levels? Well, DEXA scans are the gold standard, but they cost a lot, and you have to go to an imaging center and get this done, which can take hours out of your day. And is really not practical. You can do it very often, right? Because it costs money, it takes a lot of time, and is also low energy X-rays that are ionizing radiation. So, not healthy for your body. Now, if you get one done, that great. You have a baseline measurement, okay? But typically with DEXA scans, you're only getting them done like once, maybe twice a year. And again, all of that oppose ionizing radiation that can actually be harmful for your body. So I oppose they had them done in the past, but I wanted to find something people could use at home to measure visceral fat and do it on a regular basis. And the tapos is why I'm excited about the hum pod. You see, the hum pod is the world of Air's first portable body analyzer, which uses 8 frequency sensors to deliver precise weight and full body composition, including visceral fat levels. The advanced sensors embedded in the handle are able to scan your torso, your arms, and your legs at an accuracy of 98% compared to medical-grade health scan. Autophagy compared it to the DEXA scan, and the hum is very close to my DEXA results, so I know it's accurate. The hum pod comes with a free app that allows users to set goals to track their progress easily over time. So, there are 2 big metrics I track beyond weight. One is visceral fat, the number this whole protocol is built around lowering, and the one most tied to metabolic health. We always want our visceral fat to be under 10% of your total body mass. The other thing I look at is muscle mass. Watching muscle alongside fat reveals what the scale hides. You can stay the same weight while building muscle and dropping fat. So you may feel like you didn't lose any weight, but you added, 3 to 5 lb of muscle while you lost 3 to 5 lb of fat. That is a positive result. Now, it's important to know that a good body analyzer beats a regular scale every time. You see, the scale number alone is misleading. We hand it way too much power, and we can get discouraged when it stalls, but it can hold steady or rise while you are actually losing fat and gaining muscle. The regular scale does differentiate your fat mass from your muscle mass, whereas composition tracking shows the real picture. It gives you a complete breakdown of where you're holding your fat mass, where your muscle mass is, and where your visceral fat is. Now, there are a number of traditional smart scales that can be a good baseline to measure basic composition, but they only use the lower half of your body, and they use an equation to calculate your full body composition. This really doesn't give you medical grade accuracy, and that's why I love the hum pod. It measures your full body composition with medical grade accuracy of 98% and on par accuracy within body machines that cost $20,000 at the gym. Many of you guys are going to the gym and you're opposed to getting scans with the in-body, right? That literally cost the gym $20,000 to get. With the hum pod, everyone can now have a medical grade analyzer at their home. They also have a free app that has 40 plus health metrics, a progress history, a weekly health score, in-app workouts, syncing the hum band and other wearables like the Fitbit, Samsung Health, Apple, and more, and up to 24 devices for the whole family. Speak. Another reason I like this is that all smart scales and body analyzers out there, they only provide you with your measurement. Most people don't know what to do with those numbers or what to improve next. The hum pod is the world's first body analyzer, which uses AI to study your behavior such as your sleep, your activity, your heart health, and connecting that with your body composition data. And it provides you with a personalized feedback and insights so you can easily understand which areas you need to work on. You can check it out in a link in the description box and use the code for a special discount up to 50% off. And that's a really, really great deal. Now let's get into our 3-step protocol to burn liver and visceral fat. Step 1, you got to trigger the cellular cleanup. We do that through an autophagy. We know autophagy means self-eating. It's the body's cellular cleanup and recycle process. It clears damaged cell components. The fat-specific version, breaking down stored fat droplets, is called lipophagy, right? So, that's autophagy of lipids. A 16-18 hour fasting window lowers insulin enough to shift the body toward burning stored fat, including liver and visceral fat, instead of constantly running on incoming glucose. So, 16 to 18 hour fasts on a regular basis, and then once a week a longer 24 hour fast pushes the body into deeper autophagy for a more thorough cleanup. Why this specifically helps the liver? We know that sustained low insulin, which is what happens when we're doing this sort of intermittent fasting, that tells the liver to stop storing fat and start mobilizing it. It's a genuine break from round-the-clock processing. Now, let's have a realistic frame. We know fasting creates the conditions for the body to draw down fat stores. It's a powerful lever, but it works alongside overall diet quality, not instead of it. If you have a lot to weight to lose, you can push that beyond 24 hours. You can go 36, 40, or even 48-hour fast on a weekly basis to get deeper levels of autophagy and deeper levels of cellular healing and fat mobilization. Now, step number 2, mobilize liver fat with targeted nutrition. One of the most important compounds is choline. That is an essential nutrient the liver needs to package and export fat. Too little is directly linked to fat building up in the liver. The best sources of choline are eggs, especially egg yolk, also liver. Beef liver, for example, or chicken liver is high in choline as well. And other animal proteins are also choline sources. You can also get it in a sunflower lecithin form. You can actually get it in a powder, sunflower lecithin powder, that you can add to smoothies or in supplements. And I typically recommend 500 to 1,000 or more milligrams of choline daily. We know one egg yolk has 150 milligrams of choline in the phosphatidylcholine form. 3 oz of beef liver has 350 milligrams of choline. We know that sunflower lecithin in 2-TBSP, which you can add to like a smoothie, that gets you around 500 milligrams of choline, so that clinical dose. You also want to make sure you're getting cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, and particularly sprouts like broccoli sprouts, radish sprouts, things like that can be really great. They contain compounds to support the liver's natural detox enzyme pathways, things like sulforaphane and isothiocyanates. Those are really powerful, and they're in those cruciferous vegetables. We also want to make sure you're getting bitter greens. We say bitter is good for your liver, and bitter greens like arugula, dandelion, cilantro, parsley, all those are great, and they're traditionally used to stimulate bile production, which is how the liver carries processed fats and fat-soluble waste out of your body. Speak at antioxidant-rich foods like colorful fruits and vegetables, berries, different types of fruit, different types of vegetables. All those help counter the oxidative stress that comes with metabolizing fat. And make sure you uppose, staying really well hydrated. Get hydration plus good salts and electrolytes. We know that adequate fluid and mineral balance support metabolic and filtering processes. We know chronic dehydration adds avoidable stress on your body. So I like to make sure you uppose drinking purified water, right? So making sure you uppose using distilled water or reverse osmosis, really clean water, and then also making sure you uppose taking like an unrefined mineral salt like Red Mondopos, real salt. You can just take a little bit on your finger, put it on your tongue, drink water, and that can help you stay hydrated. Also, you can use that salt on your foods in order to get these trace minerals into your system. On top of that, there are some key supplements that can help you. One is milk thistle. That is the most well-studied herb that helps stabilize liver cell membranes and protect against oxidative damage. I recommend 500 to 1,000 mg daily, usually in divided doses, so like 2 times a day, 500 mg twice a day, or 250 twice a day. And again, milk thistle is the most well-studied herb for healing fatty liver, right? It literally can help regenerate liver cells, so itapos really, really powerful in the research. Other good herbs include dandelion, artichoke, ginger, parsley, cilantro, all those really good. And then uapos, I've got todka. Todka is a bile acid that supports healthy bile flow, and it may help lower elevated liver enzymes. It works really, really well to support good bile flow and good liver function. I typically recommend 200 to 400 mg twice daily, and then using N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione, your body apos, as master antioxidant. Taking around 500 mg of NAC twice daily really supports good liver function. Now, itapos, important to understand that all these supplements, they support and protect liver function, but they don't flush out or dissolve visceral fat directly, and they are complementary to the Fasting and the Nutrition Foundation. The apos are not a substitute. Anyone on medication or with a gallbladder or a bile condition should check with a doctor first, as some of these supplements, they can interact with the medication. Now, step number 3, lock in results and prevent reaccumulation. We know we need daily glucose management. That is part of the long game. We want to build meals around protein, fiber, and whole foods. We want to minimize liquid sugar or really any sort of ultra-processed food, and particularly ultra-processed sugar, in order to keep insulin down. That is super critical. And then we want to limit grazing. We want to eat 2 to 3 meals, high protein, 30 to 50 g or more of protein, making sure we got healthy fats on board, and making sure that we're eating colorful fruits and vegetables for good fiber. No snacks, okay? And then make sure you have got at least 3 to 4 hours between your last meal and going to sleep, okay? Thatapose, going to set you up for a great nightapose sleep, and etapose is going to start bringing your insulin levels down before you even go to bed. And then, when you go to bed, yapose ray going to raise up melatonin. Yopos, we're also going to have growth hormone on board to really enhance the detoxification and regenerative processes that take place at night, as well as the fat burning. And remember, sleep is non-negotiable. We know that poor sleep raises cortisol, and chronically elevated cortisol is directly linked to more visceral fat storage. And that makes deep, consistent sleep one of the most underrated anti-visceral fat tools. Autophagy is also important to stay active. We know that regular movement and resistance training helps build muscle and helps bring insulin down, so your body stores less fat. Speak and then track your measurables to stay accountable, because visceral fat is invisible day to day. Remeasuring periodically, where the at-home body analyzer really earns its place, that confirms the protocol is working instead of you just guessing. The human pod is super helpful here, so you can just track progress every single day in a really simple way. Now let us talk about our final checklist for a clean liver environment. Number 1, eat in a defined window, okay? For example, eat in a 6-8 hour window. Have a 16-18 hour fast on most days. Have one longer fast, right? 20 to 24 hours. Or it could be longer, 36, 40 or 48 hours, where you can literally fast 2 days and really bring your insulin down and really drive up more fat burning. Get adequate choline. Make sure you are post-ray consuming eggs, quality animal protein. You can do organ meats, you can do sunflower lecithin. Eat cruciferous vegetables and bitter greens daily. Remember that moniker, bitter is good for your liver. So, arugula, parsley, cilantro, ginger, apple cider vinegar is really good. Use apple cider vinegar. Use cilantro. Use artichokes, right? All those things really, really good. Radishes, really good for liver function. Cut liquid, fructose, and ultra-processed seed oil heavy foods. Got to get rid of those. Hydrate your body really well with high-quality purified water, reverse osmosis or distilled, and use electrolytes as well as an unrefined mineral source like red mondopos, real salt. And then protect deep sleep to keep cortisol in check. One way you do that is dim all the lights in your house. Make sure you at night make sure that your lights are dimmed. Make sure Yapo is wearing blue light blocking glasses. Go to bed at a good time. Make sure your room is set up as a sleep sanctuary so you can get really good, high quality, deep sleep. You can literally sleep your way to deeper fat burning. So you got to get to look at sleep as, a critical part of that protocol, and then move daily. Get resistance training a few times a week where you Yapos, Ray doing strength training to build muscle, and make sure Yapos are out taking walks on a regular basis as well. And then remeasure your visceral fat periodically to confirm that UAPOs Ray progressing and UAPOs actually burning through that visceral fat. Now let us get into your questions. How long does it take to burn visceral fat and heal the liver? And that really depends on where you begin, how metabolically damaged you are. What is your fasting insulin? Those are the questions we Yapos are going to ask. And I will say for people with insulin resistance, if you follow this plan, you can average around 1 lb of visceral fat loss per week. But you have to stay consistent with this. So if you have, if Yapo's got 50% lb of visceral fat and we want to get that down to 20% lb, you should be thinking about a 30-week, period of time to really burn through all of that. Sometimes Yapos faster, especially if Yapos Ray doing the advanced fasting, but on average is about 1 lb of visceral fat loss per week. And Thatapose is actually a good strategy and a good approach to getting this fat off. Second question, how much protein should I aim to have each day? And that depends on your body size, muscle mass, and your activity level. But somewhere between 100 to Letapose, say, at a upward level 250 g of protein a day, 100 g at a minimum. Make sure Yapos are getting 30 to 50 g of protein in each meal. That will stabilize your blood sugar. That will provide the amino acids you need for muscle building, and it will cause you to have more satiety so you don't overeat. Last question, how often should I test my visceral fat? Well, I recommend testing it every day, and using the human pod really makes that easy, and that Yapos is what I do. I want to see how my body Yapos responding to my diet, my movement levels, my stress, my sleep. And the human pod provides that feedback for me every single day. Itapos, a great tool. Speak. Check out the link in the description to learn more about that. You can get up to 50% off on that human pod with my link and the code, so check that out in the description box. And it's important to remember that visceral fat responds, but only when you change the signals your body is getting. Give it a real fasting window. Feed your liver the nutrients it needs to mobilize fat, protect your sleep, and keep moving. Do that consistently, and the fat you can't see starts coming off steadily and sustainably. If this gave you a new way to think about fat that actually matters, share it with someone who needs it. Hit subscribe and let me know in the comments. Have you ever had your visceral fat measured, or is this the first time you're thinking about it? Check out the link for the human pod. Also, I have my guide, 7-Day Fat Burning Quick Start Guide, in the description box. You can check that out as well. And we'll see you in our future video. As always, be blessed.